The locker wasn't supposed to have anything new in it. I knew that the second I saw the timestamp, because the item inside was manufactured 6 years after the locker was sealed. I was standing in the evidence room when the audit supervisor said my name, slow and careful, like he didn't want to startle me. He asked if I remembered locker 317. I told him I did. I helped seal it. That's where this starts, but not where it began. I retired from the department in 2018, 27 years, most of them spent behind a desk, not a gun. Evidence intake, chain of custody, the quiet side of police work that nobody thinks about until something goes missing. Locker 317 came from a cold case out of the early 2000s. Missing person, adult male, no criminal history. No ransom, no body, the kind of case that just thins out over time. Leads dry up, detectives rotate out. Files get boxed and labeled and shoved deeper into storage. In 2006, the department moved evidence facilities. New building, new lockers, everything got inventoried. Locker 317 was sealed during that transfer. Red tag. Tamper, evident wire, 2 signatures, mine was one of them. Inside was a cassette tape, a set of house keys, and a flip phone. All logged, all photographed, all dated. The tape had never been played. The phone had never been powered on. The keys didn't match any address we could find. The locker was sealed because the case was officially suspended, not closed. Policy said sealed lockers could not be opened without a court order. No exceptions. 12 years passed. Then came the audit. Every 10 years, the department runs a full evidence audit. Random lockers, random dates. Internal affairs oversight. I wasn't required to be there. I was retired, but they called me anyway. Because my name was on the seal. I remember walking back into that room and smelling the same thing. Cold metal, paper, dust that never quite settles. Locker 317 was pulled at random. That part matters. I asked twice. They cut the seal. I watched it fall to the floor. The door opened. Everything looked the same at first. Same evidence bags, same labels. Then the auditor froze. He reached in slowly and pulled out a small plastic pouch. It wasn't on the inventory list. Inside was a smartphone, not a flip phone, not a department-issued device. A modern touchscreen phone, black glass, slim casing, manufacture date on the back, 2012. I didn't say anything right away. Neither did anyone else. The room felt smaller, like the air had tightened. Records were pulled immediately. Digital logs, physical sign in sheets. Locker 317 had not been opened since 2006. No overrides, no maintenance flags, no power outages that would have required access. The seal number matched the original log. The wire showed no stress marks. It hadn't been cut and replaced. That's when internal affairs stepped in, and that's when they asked me to stay. They powered on the phone using a charger from the tech lab. The battery icon appeared, half full. That shouldn't have been possible. The phone wasn't password protected. No lock screen, no encryption. The home screen opened immediately. There was one app open in the background, voice memos, a single file, dated April 17, 2006. The same week the locker was sealed. I remember the exact sound it made when they pressed play. That faint digital click, then breathing. Slow, controlled, then a voice, my voice. I hadn't heard myself like that in years. You forget what you sound like to other people. The voice said, evidence intake, locker 317, sealing complete. That phrase wasn't strange. I'd said it hundreds of times. What came next was, there was a pause, paper moving, then my voice again. Item added, The room went dead quiet. The recording ended there. No explanation, no follow-up, just that. Item added, they asked me if I'd ever owned that phone. I said no. They asked if I recognized the device. I didn't. They asked if I'd ever made a recording like that outside of official intake logs. Never. What bothered me most wasn't the phone. It was the date, April 17th, 2006. That was the day after the locker was sealed. I remember that because I took a sick day on the 17th, food poisoning, I didn't leave my apartment. Payroll confirmed it, so did my supervisor. Internal Affairs thought it was a prank, an inside job. But evidence doesn't care what you think. They started digging into the cold case again. The missing man's name was Daniel Mercer. 34 years old, IT contractor, single, last seen leaving his office downtown. Security footage showed him exiting the building at 6:12 p.m. He never made it home. The flip phone from the locker had been his, unactivated, no SIM. The cassette tape came from his apartment. Unlabeled, I remembered why it bothered me back then. The tape wasn't blank. It was recorded over. Someone had reused it. But the content wasn't voices or music. It was room tone, hours of it, just ambient sound, a refrigerator hum. Occasional traffic, once a door closing, like someone had let it run while they waited. The keys didn't match his apartment, didn't match his office, they matched nothing. That was why the case stalled. No crime scene, no struggle, just absence. Internal Affairs requested every piece of documentation tied to Locker 317, chain of custody logs, signature cards, security camera footage from the evidence room. That's where things got worse. The cameras from 2006 were archived on tape. Low resolution, black and white. They pulled the week of April 17th. The footage showed the evidence room empty most of the time. Occasional clerks, occasional officers at 2:14 a.m. The camera glitched, static for 12 seconds. When the image came back, someone was standing in front of locker 317. The timestamp read April 17th, 2006. 2:14 a.m. The figure was facing away from the camera, same height as me, same build, wearing a department jacket. They didn't open the locker, they just stood there for almost a full minute. Then the camera glitched again. When it came back, the room was empty. I was home that night, I know that. Internal Affairs asked me how that was possible. I didn't have an answer. They asked me something else. If the locker wasn't opened, they said, how did the phone get inside? That's when I started remembering things I hadn't thought about in years. Small things, like how locker 317 always felt warmer. Not hot, just not as cold as the others. I joked about it once, said it was haunted. Nobody laughed. I remembered inventory days where the locker looked fuller, then normal again. I told myself it was my eyes. Stress, long hours. What would you think if this happened to you? If the place you trusted to keep things unchanged didn't just hold evidence, but altered it? If time itself seemed optional inside a metal box? Internal Affairs brought in a forensic audio analyst. They ran the voice memo through comparison software, matched 99.8% my voice. But there was something else. Underneath the recording, very low frequency, barely detectable, a rhythmic sound. Like a locker door being tapped, once, twice, 3 times, then silence. They asked me to listen again. I noticed something I'd missed. After item added, there was a breath, not mine, too shallow, too close to the mic. Like someone standing right beside me. They never charged me with anything. They couldn't. No evidence of tampering. No motive, but they didn't close it either. The official report says anomalous item appearance. That's the phrase they used. Locker 317 was resealed. New tag, new wire, court order this time. I didn't go back after that, but I started dreaming about the evidence room, about lockers opening on their own, about standing in front of 317, knowing something was waiting for me inside. 3 months later, I got a call from a detective still assigned to the Mercer case. He asked me if I'd ever checked my old voicemail. I told him I didn't even have that number anymore. He said they'd recovered a call from April 17th, 2006, 2:13 a.m., 1 minute before the camera glitch. The call was placed from a blocked number. It went to my phone. I never answered. The voicemail was empty, but the metadata showed the call lasted 12 seconds, the same length as the camera static. I asked him why he was telling me this now. He said because something else had happened. Locker 317 had been checked again. No court order, no audit, just a routine temperature sensor check. The locker was open, just slightly. Inside, the smartphone was gone. In its place was a small plastic pouch, unlabeled. Inside was a single key. Not the same set as before, just one, brass, worn, the kind you don't remember getting cut. No one knows what it opens. They logged it, sealed it, and this time they moved the locker. Different room, different building. Different floor, doesn't matter, because lockers like that don't just store evidence, they receive it. Whatever needs to be remembered, or returned, or added. I don't work there anymore, but sometimes, late at night, my phone lights up. No number, no voicemail, just a notification. Voice memo saved. I don't open them, not anymore. If this case unsettled you, I want you to tell me what you think happened in the comments. If you felt that slow chill creep in while listening, go ahead and like the video. And if you want to stay inside these stories with me, subscribe to Shadow Case Files.